These are 7 of the worst trades in AFL history. The 2003 Veal deal stands out as one of the most infamous trades in AFL history, where nobody involved seemed to benefit. After a stellar 2003 season with Hawthorn, where Jade Rawlings kicked a career-high 34 goals, he was eager to join his brother Brady at North Melbourne. The Bulldogs, who held the number 6 pick in the national draft and the number 1 pick in the pre-season draft, became a key player in the trade negotiations. The Bulldogs traded their number 6 pick to Hawthorn in exchange for Lachlan Veal, a 19-year-old who had been selected with the 65th pick in the previous year's draft. The trade was, in reality, a strategic manipulation by Hawthorn, designed to force North Melbourne out of the negotiations and ensure Rawlings ended up at the Bulldogs through the pre-season draft. Veal, unfortunately, became nothing more than a bargaining chip in this deal, and his short-lived AFL career reflected that. He was delisted by the Bulldogs without playing a single game in 2004. In 1994, Fremantle made a disastrous trade in its attempt to build a team ahead of their AFL debut. Coached by former Claremont coach Gerard Neesham, the Dockers were eager to sign familiar faces and struck a deal with Essendon. Fremantle lured Todd Ridley, Tony Delaney and Dale Kickett from Essendon to the club, all of whom had previously played for Claremont under Neesham. In return, Essendon received Fremantle's number 4 pick in the 1994 National Draft, as well as a valuable concession selection. Essendon capitalised on the deal using the number 4 pick to draft Scott Lucas, and then orchestrating an agreement that allowed them to select Matthew Lloyd with the concession pick. Lloyd and Lucas would become legendary figures at Essendon, combining for 1,397 goals and 540 games, and were key players in the club's 2000 premiership victory. In stark contrast, Ridley, Delaney and Kickett had minimal impact at Fremantle, with Ridley playing just 21 games, Delaney 28 and Kickett 135. This trade is remembered as one of the worst in AFL history, with Fremantle missing out on 2 of the game's greats in Lloyd and Lucas. The 2020 trade period saw Adam Treloar become an unwilling casualty in Collingwood's mass selling. After being knocked out of the finals, rumours swirled about Treloar wanting to move to Queensland, where his partner Kim Revalian had signed with the Queensland Firebirds. However, the truth was that Treloar had no desire to leave, and it was Collingwood that was pushing for the trade. Collingwood was in a dire salary cap situation and needed to offload Treloar's massive 5-year, $900,000 per season contract. The trade saga dragged on until the very last moment of the trade period, with Treloar ultimately being sent to the Western Bulldogs. The move infuriated Collingwood fans, not only because the Magpies received a minimal return, pick 14 and a future second rounder, but because they were still on the hook for $300,000 per year of Treloar's salary for the remainder of his contract. This was a bitter pill to swallow for fans who had seen Treloar lead the league in average disposals just a year prior. The Bulldogs, meanwhile, added him to their already star-studded midfield, along with draft picks 26, 33 and 42. Another huge blunder for Fremantle in the summer of 1994 involved trading away the rights to future AFL legend Andrew McLeod. As the club prepared to enter the AFL, Fremantle had the opportunity to recruit McLeod, a rising star who had shone in the SANFL Grand Final. However, the Dockers, under coach Gerard Neesham, didn't value McLeod highly, and instead traded his rights to the Adelaide Crows in exchange for Chris Groom, a young forward. This decision would come back to haunt Fremantle, as Groom played just 7 games for the Dockers before persistent knee injuries ended his career. Meanwhile, McLeod went on to become one of the greatest players in AFL history. Moving to a halfback role, McLeod played 340 games for the Crows, won 2 Norm Smith medals, 2 premierships, 5 All-Australian selections, and was inducted into the Australian Football Hall of Fame. McLeod later revealed that he felt insulted and belittled by Neesham, who was central to Fremantle's decision to trade him. This trade remains one of the most infamous mistakes in Fremantle's history, as they let go of a player who would become an all-time great. In 2007, Richmond made a decision that would haunt them in the long term, trading away the rights to a future star in Callan Ward. Desperate for improvement, the Tigers sought to bring Western Bulldogs halfback Jordan McMahon to their club. McMahon, originally picked 10th overall by the Bulldogs in the 2000 draft, was traded to Richmond for pick 19th in the 2007 draft. That pick became Callan Ward, who would go on to be one of the most durable and rugged midfielders in the AFL. Ward quickly developed into a consistent performer, increasing his disposal average each season for the first 5 years of his career. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, they couldn't fully reap the rewards either, as Ward was later poached by the GWS Giants to become one of their inaugural captains in 2011. Ward went on to average at least 20 disposals per game from 2011 to 2018 and became a cornerstone of GWS's midfield. Meanwhile, McMahon played just 34 games for Richmond across 2 seasons, with his most notable moment being a game-winning goal in the controversial 2009 match against Melbourne, widely regarded as a tanking game. In 2010, frustrated with a lack of consistent opportunities, Carlton winger Sean Grigg sought a fresh start and requested a trade to Richmond. Grigg, a former number 19 draft pick in 2006, had only managed 43 games with a struggling Carlton side, but saw greater potential at Punt Road. After the trade, Grigg flourished with Richmond, becoming a reliable presence on the field. He played 20 or more games in 7 of his first 8 seasons with the club, consistently averaging over 20 disposals per game. Grigg's versatility came to the forefront during Richmond's drought-breaking 2017 Premiership season, where he averaged 23.1 disposals and even contributed in the ruck when needed. On the other side of the trade, Carlton received young midfielder Andrew Collins, who unfortunately failed to make a significant impact. Collins managed just 11 games for the Blues before being delisted in 2013, while Grigg went on to become a key figure in Richmond's Premiership success. This trade ultimately proved to be a win for Richmond, as Grigg became a cornerstone of their resurgence, while Carlton missed out on developing a long-term asset in return. In 2016, Geelong continued its strong off-season track record by securing a key player in Zach Tuohy, further bolstering their lineup. After a 10th place finish in 2015, the Cats had already rebounded by adding superstar Patrick Dangerfield. A year later, they made another smart move by acquiring Tuohy from Carlton in what turned out to be a bargain deal. Tuohy, an Irish recruit who had become one of the AFL's great international success stories, played 120 games for Carlton after being picked 73rd in the 2010 rookie draft. In exchange for Tuohy and a 2017 second-round pick, Geelong gave Carlton youngster Billy Smets a 2017 first-round pick and pick 63 in the 2016 draft. While it was hoped that Smets would find his footing at Carlton after managing just 38 games in 6 seasons with Geelong, he struggled to make an impact, managing only 9 games for the Blues before being delisted at the end of the season. Meanwhile, Tuohy became the kingpin of Geelong's backline, adding consistency and experience to the team's defensive unit. This trade proved to be a win for the Cats, as Tuohy has gone on to play a key role in their sustained success, while Carlton did not see the same return from Smets. Which of these bad AFL trades do you think was the worst? Let me know in the comments.